everyone, I'm Hugo. Oh god. Is that what you think flirting is? No.
No, it's this.
I feel like all my orifices are drier. Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Hugo, where we're gonna answer your questions. Or I guess I am, because that's the title.
Yeah, I don't get to answer these, even though I often do.
So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the questions. Link to the Discord is in the description. You can ask me questions there in the comments, though usually they come from the Discord.
The Bohemian Red, Dear Hugo Slavia, and Jake and Bake. Oof. What are your thoughts on voter apathy in places such as the U.S.? Do you think the issue could be resolved by either adopting a new voting system, increased education regarding politics and government in schools, or maybe a little of both? This is a decent question.
Yeah, I think a little of both. I think somewhere in New England, this first election, I forget which state it was, but somewhere in New England, they started their ranked choice voting, so for the first time in the U.S.
They had actual, was it local elections, or?
It was for, I believe, it was for statewide positions.
Okay.
So it was started out, I think some of it was for national positions, though. I'm going to have to look it up. Yeah, because the states decide, essentially how the Constitution...
Oh, the states decide how the national votes work?
I mean, it's
Except in a general, I don't think you could do it for president, could you?
No, the states elect the governors of their state, or not governors, sorry, Congress people for their state, and the state gets to, what's the word I'm looking for? They basically say the election is valid, and they send off the congressperson to Congress.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's the first thing. I think ranked choice voting is a thing that if it were implemented would maybe help people feel their voices being heard a little bit more, and less of a choice between, as often put by people, like the lesser of two evils or whatever. You get to kind of pick which ones you think are better.
Right, and so for instance, if you don't know how that works, in the last general election, let's just say, you could have voted for, in no particular order, Hillary Clinton, Jill Stein, the Libertarian guy whose name I'm forgetting,
Gary Johnson,
Satan, a cat, yourself, and then Donald Trump.
Sure, it's just a way that your vote can. It keeps you from what people would colloquially say is throwing away your vote on a third party. So you could vote for Gary Johnson or Jill Stein and then say, but if they don't win, my second choice is Hillary Clinton, Satan, and so, dog, whatever.
Sure, and so basically what would happen is you'd get a series of points. Like, so if it was top 4 or top 3, number 1 would get 3 points, the bottom one would get 1 point. Yep. And you also don't have to put anybody. So, I mean, if you didn't want Donald Trump at all, or you didn't want Hillary Clinton, you wouldn't have to put them on the ballot. You could just rank other people. You could go Donald Trump, Gary Johnson, Jill Stein. That's fine, too. Yep. And then we would tally the points, and that would count. So everyone would get multiple votes, technically, but some would be more valuable. And I think that's a better way to do it personally.
Yeah.
It's more comprehensive as far as how people think.
Yeah. On top of that, I think also educating people more. I know I had civics in high school, but I know a lot. In fairness, some people just don't pay attention in school. So I get it. You're just not going to learn if you don't want to. But I think more that has to do with reforming the education system in general to get kids more engaged. And I don't know shit about that. So I don't know.
Well, I do, but I don't care. I'm going to move this a little bit.
We're doomed.
There. That's more central.
Okay.
Do we sound more central? Clamburger, Hugo and Jake. I'm worried that America... Oh, wait. We didn't talk about voter apathy.
Okay.
Fuck you, Clamburger, for just a second. I'll get to you in a second. So voter apathy. I feel like this last midterm was the least apathetic vote for the left-leaning people.
We for a while.
We broke records. Like, it was... I want to say most voters since 1902 in a midterm.
I thought I saw 1914 or something like that.
Maybe. Either way, it was early 1900s it's pre-World War I.
Okay.
So the most, like percentage-wise, obviously we have a higher population. So I don't think the left is as apathetic as it was. But 2016, like, it was justified apathy. I am upset at people who allowed Donald Trump to be in office because they felt like they got robbed. Like, I'm upset a little bit, but not as much as I would be under normal circumstances. Does that make sense? Because
Bernie
was most of us that were not Hillary supporters, but voted for her because fuck Trump.
I don't get it. At the end of the day, I don't understand at all how you could look at Trump and Hillary and not see a clear difference in competence at the very least, even if you thought one of them was evil, or both of them are evil.
Sure.
One of them's certainly a competent adult.
Absolutely. But it's, I don't know. This turnout showed that, like, when people are given a choice in like actual choices, as far as like the kind of like progressive people that liberals tend to want now,
sure,
they get out and fucking vote. So I am hoping that the Democrats pay attention, and we'll see what happens. They could easily throw this general election by tossing out like a Cory Booker. I don't know, he might win, but it'd be much closer than if they had an actual progressive person and not just. He's Obama 2.0, and it's not just because he's black, it's because he's literally, like, they're kind of the same candidate. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Hillary was a downgrade.
I get it.
And that was, so, anyway, so apathy in general, the general election apathy made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense that there wasn't apathy, because people were fired up.
I just don't understand why they thought, like, what a bad...
I vote in every election.
I know, I get it, and I do too. I'm just saying, I don't understand the thought behind. She lost to Obama the first time in the press. So they're like,
yep,
you guys want the second choice now, right? Well, no, they picked Obama for a reason.
It was her turn. That's exactly how it went. Anyway,
she's still the competent choice.
I hope we don't have to talk about her again. I really hope we don't have to. Sorry, Clamburger. You're back up. Clamburger! Hugo and Jake, I'm worried that America may go back to when you couldn't be openly gay or trans. Maybe I'm just being overly paranoid, but I can't help but feel that in the current state we're in, hopefully you or others can put my mind to ease.
I certainly understand how it can feel that way, looking at things day to day, but at the end of the day, no matter how bad the... quote-unquote culture war might seem in the day-to-day. You know what I mean? That's
Paul Joseph Watson's culture war.
This is how people on the right like to frame it. Yeah, it's not, but you know what I mean? They like to bring up shit like that all the time, and certainly there's contentious political issues. I think Trump just recently pulled back some stuff for, like, trans rights and stuff that's kind of bullshit, but either way, on a day-to-day basis, I don't think things are changing in a negative way.
No, I think we're going better.
People who are out, and people know more trans people and gay people every day because more people are comfortable talking about it with their families. Sure. So,
like, it's not just the gays and the lesbians anymore. It's the rest of that community that's finally getting incorporated.
Right. And on a policy level, there are things to talk about, and there are rights that need to be fought for. But on a personal level, I don't think things are going to get worse. At best, this latest election cycle has taught us, like, wow, there's some really loud people who I don't want to associate with because they're fucking pieces of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People who are, like, anti-rights for various individuals, gay, trans, whatever.
Right. Like,
the general consensus is not moving that direction. Those people just got angry and loud for a little bit because they're losing.
And they're dying out. I mean, literally dying out. So, yeah, I think it's getting better. There's statistics that show that every year is better than the last. But it's just we're so aware of the bad now because of how social media works and just our information. The bad stuff sticks out a lot because I don't know, like bad shit is more effective than good shit, which is why Republicans win. And I don't mean because they're bad. I think they're bad, but I mean they run on these fear campaigns and they run on like, oh, the Mexicans are coming. There's a caravan. They're going to destroy marriage. They're not supporting of the troops. They're going to start a war. Yeah. Like and liberals tend to they can do that, and that has been done. Hillary was a good example of a bad way to run a liberal campaign, to bring that up again. But kind of like that, it's kind of the Barack Obama playbook, like the hope and change kind of thing. Yeah. Less corny, but it worked for him. Where like we actually do want to improve rights for people and be safer and have health care, and like these are kind of like warm and fuzzy things that don't get people like really emotionally grabbed. But it's starting to happen. Like we were talking earlier, like the NRA called out a bunch of doctors, and like every doctor is like, no, stay in your fucking lane. Did you see the tweet the NRA made?
No.
It was like, these pansy doctors should stay in their lane. They don't know anything about guns. Then a bunch of doctors are like, we are in our lane, covered in blood, pulling bullets out of bodies, trying to make them cool, sewing up heads, so their family can fucking look at them before they go in a casket, like shit like that. That's the kind of stuff that it's positive emotions, right? It's a we're here, we're standing up strong. For a negative thing, I think that's kind of where we're headed.
I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah, but anyway, MattBot19, dear Hugo. Oh, dear Jake and Hugo, you fucked me up. It worked. What do you think the overall impact of the satanic panic is on modern D&D? Would it be as popular or more popular if the scared Christian moms hadn't demonized D&D?
I thought this was an interesting question, because this is something I hadn't thought about, and I think, while Dungeons & Dragons would certainly exist today, regardless of weird, uptight parents in the 70s and 80s getting crazy about it. Certainly, before I heard about D&D, even though I knew it isn't demonic and stuff, within that cultural,
there is a
idea
stigma
of what D&D is, in my head has a little bit of that attached to it, just because it was such a culturally prevalent thing at the time. And it makes me wonder, did that, at the end of the day, just help promote the game more? I gotta imagine there's a fair number of kids who were like, ooh, what? And then they wanted to play it, and they're like, oh, this is just fun.
I don't know. Well, they had some bad additions, like game design-wise.
Yeah.
When 5th came out, it got really popular, and Critical Role really helped it get out. All of the people, they do a series, I think it's like Under the Sheets, or Behind the Sheet, I can't remember now, where they interview the cast members, basically. And it comes up sometimes, the satanic panic stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it made them want to try it.
Sure.
So
I can see that.
Yeah.
It was a free, advertising
It's kind of like
campaign.
the drug war, don't do drugs. And people are like, wait, drugs? Drugs sound cool. By the way, I lost my weed pen. I don't know where the fuck it's at.
Thanks, Nancy Reagan.
Nancy lost my weed pen?
Yeah.
Oh, it was in my pocket, and I don't... But anyway.
The dangers of drugs. You'll lose the way to do your drugs, because you're on drugs.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't on drugs. I was literally just in my pocket, because I moved it.
Didn't do enough drugs.
I didn't do any drugs. I don't smoke that often. I was literally just going to put it in my pocket and put it somewhere, and I lost it, and anyway.
It was the ghost of Nancy Reagan. She's protecting you. Is she dead?
If you haven't tried D&D, you should play D&D with Nancy Reagan. Husky Good Boy Huskerton. Dear Captain Kirk and Captain Picard. Are you Kirk? It's Hugo and Jake.
I'd rather be Picard.
I know you would. I'm more of a Kirk than you are, so I'll give you Picard.
Okay.
That's fine.
Sounds good.
I don't know that either of us are very Picardy, but I'm definitely more Kirk.
Yeah,
he's kind of dumb.
I'm not going to hammer punch.
And he has a lot of hubris well, no, that's it.
I just want to sit in my ready room and do this every once in a while.
Anyway, with each successive generation in America being more progressive and leaning farther to the left than the generation before it, do you think we will see an actual end to conservatism, republicanism, as we know it today, as those generations that support it literally die off? To me, I interpret the recent incline of right extremism as a death rattle, since those that uphold that ideology are becoming fewer and fewer in number, and they, as a party, are getting pushed into a corner with no way out. Your thoughts?
I think the important phrase there is, as we know it today. I think you're absolutely right.
I think that's already happened. Trump changed that.
I think Trump killed post 9/11 America. We are now in post 9/11 America. Whatever the fuck that means.
Oh, I know exactly what it means. And it means memes.
Anyway.
Memes literally are kind of how we run politics right now.
The phrase, as we know it today, being the important phrase. By that I mean what it means to be conservative and what it means to be correct.
Well, let's say that, okay.
Changes over time.
Let's have this discussion real quick. Before Trump, what was a conservative or a Republican?
Here's the thing. A lot of this is still dog whistly, and I still think under the George W. Bush, it's bullshit. But I tended to believe the bullshit a little bit more. So let's say under George W. Bush, a George W. Bush type person, very pro defense spending.
Patriotism, nationalism.
Remember 9/11. Like people who put flag stickers on their everything, whatever.
Yeah,
maybe
pro-military. I said defense spending, but specifically the troops.
Sure. Anti-spending on anything that isn't defense generally. Christian, yes. And
very, very socially conservative. No gays, no anything.
Sure. I would say under Trump it's different. Drugs. I don't see the fiscal conservatism anymore.
No.
They pay lip service to it.
They do, but
fuck, are you kidding me? The tax bill is putting up, what is it, like an extra 11 trillion or something like that on the deficit over the next decade? Anyway, the deficit shrunk every year under Obama, by the way. In case anyone wanted to look that up.
Oh. So wait. Liberal, progressive. I'm saying that lightly because Obama wasn't that progressive. At least not legislatively speaking.
Sure.
You're saying those policies make us money over time because everyone's doing better?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh!
Under Trump, I would argue, and during the shift that happened during that election, under Obama, when everyone went fucking crazy for no goddamn reason.
Black.
I mean... I would argue a lot of the dog whistling kind of went away, and it's just, we're just
dog barks.
We're angry for no fucking reason. Yeah. Fox News has told us to be angry, and I understand a lot of this was true under George W. Bush as well, and earlier, but man, has it gotten worse. Everyone knows the discourse around politics has gotten worse. It's so much fucking worse. People on the right have gotten goddamn ridiculous.
They're like their policy stuff is now like red cups from Starbucks.
It's like,
you know what I mean? Like, and I know that's a few years old, but that was kind of like during the Trump wave thing that happened. Like your politics now include like I don't want to be nice to people that have different pronouns. Like I don't like Mexicans.
It's just angry.
Like it's just angry. Like it's just, I don't like blank. Don't do the thing. Or person I don't like did thing. Do opposite of the thing.
Yep.
It's not politics anymore.
For people who tend to pay lip service again to being against identity politics, it's all they fucking got.
The only real debate, the only real political debate I see right now, there's two of them. Gun control and healthcare. Yep. Other than that, I don't see actual discussions about like real things that matter. Like the Acosta thing. Like, did you see that video where someone's like, "Oh wow, when you slow it down, you can really see," and they did it so he like karate chopped her arm off. Sean from Sean and Jen, are you familiar?
No.
Oh, you'd very much like Sean. Tweeted, and I totally agree. I couldn't put this into words, but it was very succinct. It was like, when I first heard of the Acosta video, I looked at it and was wondering, why are they giving her shit? She didn't do anything like that big a deal. She grabbed it, sure, and that was kind of shitty, but like I don't think it was like assault. And then I realized they were talking about him. Like, that's exactly how it went. I thought, okay, I mean, she's being a little aggressive, but I mean, no big deal. Who cares? And then he goes, That's the kind of political discourse we have now. It's fucking wild. Trans boy atheist. Dear happy and joyful. Yeah, that describes us. Come here. Oh. If your channel was
so much worse.
If your channel was, you did it. You went backwards on it. That was your fault. If your channel was candy, what flavor would it be? Tears.
I was gonna say the flavor of two obese, hairy, gross people. So candy corn.
Luke the Lucky TD. Dear Average Hugo and Lord Jake. All right. I'll take it. I'm in charge now. What do you think of the recent controversy? Actually, I'm going to say it like an English person. Controversy. Open Red Dead Redemption 2 development having 100-hour work weeks. People criticize please use punctuation in the future. People criticize the game industry for not having unions or health insurance. How do you think you can make it better for the developing? You even edited this. Luke, I love you. But fuck!
Yeah, crunch periods in the game industry are fucking bullshit, and I think Jim Sterling said it best, something along the lines of, Crunch periods are not a triumph of the labor force, they are a failure of the management, and I agree entirely.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, like you mentioned in this, unionization, like most things, could be benefited from unionization. I think that their jobs would be in a much better place. I know voice actors in video games had a thing a while back. I don't know if they actually ever ended up...
I'm assuming they did.
...getting some of the stuff they wanted, but I think game developers could certainly benefit from some unions, because I've heard some shitty things, especially from, like, QA departments and stuff, and...
most of this was because they changed all the scenes to letterbox.
But, like...
Well, not all of them, but the cinematic stuff, they changed to letterbox, so it felt more cinematic.
If you... It does... The point...
So they had to reframe everything. I'm not saying... I'm saying, like, that's the reason I feel like you could have just pushed it back.
Yeah.
That said, what a game.
It is a great game, but I hate when people say that shit, because it's like... Yeah, but you could have had it come out 6 months or a year later. The fact that you were having people work that much is fucking bullshit.
100-hour work weeks for how long?
It doesn't matter how long. No. One fucking week.
No, I agree, but how long? I mean, that you could just push it back, like... You double, however many weeks you did, like, double that. That's how long the pushback is, because you're working 40 to 50 hours seems reasonable. I worked 50 hours in restaurants.
Especially considering it's fucking Rockstar, and the game's gonna make all the money in the goddamn universe.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, just push it. There's no reason to work 100-hour work weeks. They said something like people wanted to work that?
No, that's horseshit.
That can't be true.
That's horseshit corporate bullshit.
It can't be true.
Corporate fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You can enjoy your job and have pride in your work and still have a reasonable work-life balance.
Yeah.
No one fucking wants to work 100 hours a week on that shit. No one. Unless you're goddamn insane.
Anthony Fantano wants to work 100-hour work weeks. Anthony Fantano is the hardest working individual on YouTube.
Is this a meme I'm not?
What? Internet's busiest music nerd?
I don't watch him.
You don't watch Anthony Fantano?
No, I know we've had him on as a guest, but he's someone you watch, not me.
Oh. Fantano's great. I love you, Anthony. Work Tano. Leslie C. Oh, I know you. You come to the streams. Dear Hugo and or Jake, I have a question about adulting. Ooh, do you separate your laundry, colors, whites, etc. before you wash it? I have a girlfriend who does that. And I don't mean that in a sexist way. That's our division of labor. I do the dishes.
Yeah, you separate the whites and the colors, and
yeah,
that way you can do the whites on a higher temperature. You do the colors on a lower temperature, so they don't run.
Yeah.
But this is something you could have Googled.
Don't separate. Yeah, what you should definitely separate your colors and whites. What?
Segregation is alive and well in my laundry room.
That's where it should be, always.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's why I keep my water fountain down there.
But she does it. Maybe it's all shitty. I don't know. It smells good though. Yeah, they smell fine. She does a good job. Nate! Dear Hugo and Jacked. Yeah, that's standard. What was your favorite Stan Lee cameo? And now that he's gone, do you think they will See, you typed recreate, and I know that's what it said. My head said, do you think they will incinerate him? Do you think they will recreate him with CGI like they did for Princess Leia in The Last Jedi?
Favorite Stan Lee cameo.
It's our last one.
I'm gonna have two categories here. In general,
MCU and in general,
and then MCU, because they are actually different.
Favorite Mallrats.
Yeah, because that's a great scene. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. I highly suggest you check it out. I'd suggest you check out the whole movie. It's like one of the 3 good Kevin Smith movies that exist.
Tusk is okay.
Tusk is fun, but it's not something I feel
like great. No, it's fun though.
But that because I think it really encapsulates as a person who Stanley kind of was. Even if you don't know who Stanley is, in that scene you kind of can get an idea, and it's kind of
also,
fun.
He's got a beard. Beard Stanley. Good look.
Holy shit. You know he was like 70 when that movie came out?
Are you kidding me?
No.
He died at 95, so I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
So that's my number one cameo. My number one MCU cameo is probably the recent one he did in... I forget if it was in Avengers.
I didn't see Ant-Man and the Wasp yet. I still haven't seen that. It's the only one I've missed, and I actually feel it's starting to bug me, but I thought it was going to come out on Netflix soon.
Yeah, I don't know if their deal might be done for
I know.
Disney and Netflix.
I was kind of waiting for it.
It's all right. It's the kind of thing that I explained this, and I've talked to other people about this. Ant-Man and the Wasp is the kind of movie that once Disney has a streaming service, I think stuff like that will come out as a limited series or just as a direct to Disney streaming movie. And it's a good movie. It's entertaining. It's as entertaining as the first Ant-Man was.
Yeah, and that was a good movie. But it's Ant-Man.
I didn't need to see it in theaters. And I didn't. So I'd say my favorite MCU cameo is the recent one where he was on in space and he's talking to the Watchers.
Oh yeah,
because it kind of
implies that he's one of them.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
It implies he's tied in to all the cameos and they're all the same person. And I think that's
the one. Is it Ultron or is it the first Avengers movie? He has like a scene with Steve Rogers, and I can't remember. Like he can't handle his drink or something.
Age of Ultron, that's in.
Is that the one where he's like, give me the drink, and it's Thor has like this.
Yeah.
I thought that one was pretty good.
That's good. I like when he directly interacts with the characters.
Me too.
Fun. I like the Tony. Are you Tony Stank? That's a pretty good one. Stan Lee always
he was half once, and now
in Iron Man, first one.
Yeah, and now they're both gone.
Wait, Hugh Hefner died?
Yeah. That was months and months, maybe a year ago at this point. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. No, I think we called it though. Like once his wife died, we figured it'd probably be within a year, and that's kind of how it goes, and that's fine.
Who could have guessed a 95-year-old would die
within the year? We did. We're basically prophets now. Yeah. No, I think he has a good legacy. I'm really happy that he got to see his ship blow up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always popular, but
the fact that it's like the number one media empire in the world right now, it's Disney's cash cow. I mean, Disney has many cash cows, but it's a big one.
Yeah, it's kind of like how, like if Van Gogh ever got to see his shit on a different level. Obviously, it's not as like emotionally impactful, I don't think, but it is It is like transformative as far as like it's our culture. Yeah. It is dominating our culture. Like Marvel and Star Wars. Those are the two pop culture things I can think of, like Disney films in general, but Disney owns Marvel, so...
I would argue Marvel movies are this generation's Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
As much as pop culture tends to talk about them and people tend to go see them.
Yeah, and I mean, they transcend all sorts of things, and they help political discussions, like Black Panther for some reason. Well, not for some reason, an obvious reason, but, you know, it ended up being this, like, political center for a little bit. Like, the Civil War movie was a good political... Like, I don't know, there's just a lot of really good stuff that came from that, and that's pretty cool. And also, the funny disappearing memes after the hurt was gone. I don't feel so good.
You know, I don't feel bad about Stan Lee's death. He lived one of the fullest lives. It wasn't
tragic.
You can live.
Yeah.
People love his stuff.
Some people are shitting on him.
Why?
Because, you know, that's what happens.
Have better things to do than shit on dead people.
Well, sometimes dead people are fucking bad.
Stan Lee wasn't, though.
No. Anyway, someone in our comments is going to be like, Stan Lee was the worst. I don't care. Anyway, I think that's it. You didn't have any more questions for me, so
no, that's all.
I guess that's all we're going to... That's just the end of it. Yeah. So...
Ian, send stuff to our P.O. Box. I'm doing P.O. Box first this time. I don't know why.
There it is. You can do the things as far as following us on Twitter at PapaBirdJake and Hugo Reloaded. I had a drink of Barks before, and that just came up. That has been sitting in me for like half an hour.
Okay.
Barks, do I have a hair?
Yes.
Well, there's no
goblin hair.
Is it? Oh, it's goblin hair. It's not dog hair.
No.
So it was red. Anyway. You can follow me at twitch.tv/actualjake. I had Boogie2988 on recently. I'm not kidding. It was a shit show. You probably want to go see it. Before you hear about it elsewhere. Okay. It wasn't my fault. If you're watching Boogie, I love and support you. That's it. That's going to be a shit show, man. It's just, there's no way that doesn't end up some sort of shit ball in my life. What?
I got jokes, but the episode's over.